This is Storytime with Livilu and guest. Each episode, Livilu invites a friend to read a story to her. Sometimes the story is going to be sad, sometimes it's going to be funny, but most often the story is going to have an important lesson for Livilu and you too. So listen carefully and enjoy today's story with Livilu.
Hi, Miss Alyson. What are you going to read to me today?
Hello, Livilu. I'm going to read a story called The Wild Christmas Reindeer by Jan Brett. And you know what? She even drew the pictures.
Wow, she's very talented.
She is pretty talented. The Wild Christmas Reindeer, written and illustrated by Jan Brett. Teeka was excited and a little afraid. This year Santa had asked her to get the reindeer ready to fly on Christmas Eve. Teeka had never done this before, and she wanted everything to be perfect. Teeka lived up in the Arctic in the shadow of Santa's winter farm. The last of the snow geese had flown south, and everyone's mind was on Christmas. The workshop was alive with the sounds and saws, sawing, hammers, hammering, and brushes painting. All they had to do was to make the toys and get them ready for delivery on Christmas Eve.
That's a big job, though.
Yeah, big job. She must be very responsible,
She must be.
I guess. Teeka knew it was time for her to go in search of the reindeer. They had been out on the tundra, wild and free, since last Christmas, and Teeka was sure they wouldn't want to go back to the winter farm to train. She would have to be strong and firm. At last, she found them. Bramble and Heather, Windswept and Lichen, Snowball, Craig, Twilight, and Tundra. Are those funny names for reindeers?
That is a funny name.
Teeka took a deep breath and shouted out, "Let's go! Move, move, move!" The reindeer were bewildered by Teeka's voice. Their heads went up to see who this loud creature was. But they let her herd them in together and headed back toward Winter Farm. Tundra gave her the most trouble. Teeka didn't know what he considered himself the leader and was not used to being bossed around. He liked to stay next to Twilight, but she was separated from him and running near the front. When they got to the barn, Teeka put them in different stalls. Tundra snorted impatiently. By the next morning, when Teeka went to the barn, all of the reindeer were restless and upset. Lichen was frightened of Craig, who kept nipping at him. Bramble was so worried she drove Heather wild, and Twilight kept calling out to Tundra, who was just plain angry and stamping his hooves.
Wow.
They don't sound very happy.
They're ornery.
Ornery, it's a good word. Teeka groomed each reindeer. She wanted them to look sleek and glossy for Santa. One by one, she brushed and combed their coats and pushed and pulled at their tangled manes. She brushed so long and so hard that their ears started to turn pink.
Oh,
Man,
I don't like having my hair brushed.
no, I would guess not. You know
No,
what?
it's a mess.
Neither do I, and I have really short hair. Teeka took the reindeer outside. Now she was ready for the real training to begin. Snowflakes danced in the air as she tried to stand them in two lines and put their harnesses on. But they wouldn't stay lined up. She had put Tundra at the back with Heather instead of at the front with Twilight. So he kicked out a Heather, who then bolted into Bramble. Teeka scolded the reindeer. "Don't move," she cried. But they all ran off wild-eyed, and she had to go after them and bring them back.
Oh, no.
What a big job that would
That's
have
a
been.
big job.
The next day, Teeka harnessed the reindeer in the barn before taking them out into the snow. Everything went right until she got them lined up outside and tried to steer them first to the left and then to the right. To make the sleigh fly, they would need to pull together smoothly, but everything went wrong.
Gotta work together.
They gotta work together. Tundra crashed into Heather, Snowball blew up at Bramble, Windswept knocked over Twilight, and then Lichen locked Antlers with Craig.
Oh, boy.
Just look at that mess.
It's a mess.
Wonder if you think she'll get it straightened out?
I hope so.
I hope so. It's almost
Big job.
Christmas. "Stop!" Teeka cried, and she watched the reindeer paw the air. "Unhook!" she shouted as they tried to free their long antlers. Then Lichen and Craig fell over into the snow. The harder they pulled, the more their antlers locked. The reindeer were frantic, and Teeka only made it worse by yelling at them.
Oh no. That never helps.
It does not. Tundra and Heather rushed to help him, but the antlers did not break free. Windswept nudged at Lichen, and Bramble ran to help Craig. But the more they tried to help, the more they got tangled up themselves.
Oh no.
Their necks strained and their muscles bulged, but their antlers did not budge. Muscles bulged, but their antlers did not budge.
Oh no.
Teeka wailed, "Oh, please, it's almost Christmas Eve." But the reindeer could not move. A frosty silence hung in the air.
Are they gonna get this together?
Oh, I think they're going to have to figure it out. Oh, Teeka looked at the tangled reindeer, once so bold and free, and she began to cry. "It's all my fault," she said. "I've spent all my time yelling at you instead of helping. I'm really sorry." And one by one, she gave each reindeer a hug.
Oh.
"Tomorrow," she said, "we'll go to work in a new way. No yelling, no screaming, and no bossing. I promise. Let me try to help you get free." Think that'll do the trick?
I hope that does the trick. I know that yelling's not really helpful.
It really is not.
No.
The reindeer listened to this new voice. Heather's eyes sparkled. Craig cracked a reindeer grin. Bramble giggled and Snowball sighed. Tundra laughed and Twilight smiled. The more they laughed, the more they shook. And as they shook, their antlers rattled and rubbed. And before you know it, Teeka couldn't do anything. She heard a spring, spring, sprung. And
What?
the antlers had jiggled free.
Oh, goodness.
The reindeer were separated.
Yay.
Quietly, Teeka led the reindeer back to the barn. She sleeked their coats. She gently brushed their ears and combed out their manes. Tundra nuzzled her cheek.
Aw.
The next day, the reindeer lined up in 2 lines, ready for the harness, with Twilight and Tundra leading the line. They practiced turning left and they practiced turning right. Teeka directed them softly. Tundra pulled for Twilight. Bramble was gentle to Lichen. Windswept helped Heather, and Snowball nestled against Craig. Together, they practiced long and hard.
Working together.
You got it. They didn't notice that it was getting dark, and they almost didn't hear a jingle in the distance. It was Santa standing by the sleigh, piled high with presents.
What?
And ready to go.
He's ready.
Boy, look at all that beautiful color.
That's lovely.
Now the reindeer were ready, and Teeka led them to the sleigh. Santa smiled and nodded and thanks. Then he climbed aboard and waved to Teeka, who watched as the wild reindeer rose up together and carried the sleigh off into the night.
They did it!
They did it! And there is Teeka. It says Merry Christmas, and she's all tucked in for the night.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Teeka.
Christmas.
Good job. Thank you, Miss Alyson.
You are more than welcome. Did you like the story?
I liked it a lot.
Good, good. I am so glad I chose this one. It's one of my favorites.
It's great. Thank you.
You're welcome. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.